The forest adventure. Does the glowing lake really exist? No one has seen it, but many people talk about it. Deep in the forest, there is a strange light. Is it a miracle, or is it dangerous? John, Jason, Tom, and Mary stood at the edge of the forest. This place feels scary, Mary said softly, holding her compass tightly. John smiled and opened the map. But that's why it's fun, right? Jason nodded and lifted his heavy backpack. This is not a normal adventure, but we can do it together. Tom laughed and said, If we find the glowing lake, my pictures might become famous. He held his camera, ready to take photos. Every summer, the four friends went on a new adventure. But this time, it was special. They wanted to find the glowing lake from the old stories. The friends spent many weeks getting ready for their trip. They wanted to make sure everything was perfect. John was good at reading maps, so he planned the way. He looked at the forest map every day and marked the paths. Jason was strong, so he carried the heavy supplies like food, water, and camping gear. Tom loved taking pictures. He brought his camera to capture the beautiful views in the forest. Mary was very organized. She made a list of everything they needed, like first aid kits, flashlights, and snacks. She wanted to make sure everyone had enough energy. As they entered the forest, the friends felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. The path was narrow and winding, surrounded by thick trees and colorful flowers. They followed the map carefully, making sure they stayed on the right trail. After walking for a few hours, they reached a small clearing. The sunlight peeked through the leaves, creating beautiful patterns on the ground. Here, they decided to set up their tents. They worked together, laughing and helping each other. Jason carried the heaviest tents, while Mary made sure everything was in the right place. They shared stories and roasted marshmallows, laughing and talking about their favorite memories. The fog made the forest look mysterious and a little spooky, but the friends felt safe together. Suddenly, they heard strange sounds in the distance. It was hard to tell what the noises were, but the friends stayed calm and stayed close together. John looked at his friends and said, Don't worry. We are here together, and we will have a great adventure. Jason nodded, adding, Maybe it's just the wind or some animals. Let's not be scared. Mary smiled and said, Let's enjoy the night. Tomorrow, we will find the legendary lake. The friends felt brave and decided to enjoy the rest of the evening around the campfire. They didn't know what was coming, but they were ready to face it together. The next morning, the friends woke up early. The sun was shining, and the fog had lifted. They packed their things carefully, making sure nothing was left behind. Today, they were excited to go deeper into the forest to find the legendary glowing lake. Today is the day we find the lake, said John with a big smile. They started walking along the narrow path, following the map. Birds sang in the trees, and butterflies flew around them. Everything seemed perfect as they walked deeper into the forest. Suddenly, a thick fog began to cover the path. The fog was so dense that they could barely see a few meters ahead. Oh no! The fog is getting thicker, said Mary, feeling scared. Don't worry, said Jason, trying to stay calm. We can hold hands and find our way together. They held hands and walked slowly, making marks on the trees to remember the path. They tried to use their compasses, but the thick fog made it hard to see the directions. Their navigation tools stopped working properly. The friends walked for hours, but the fog only got worse. Soon they realized that they were lost. They had walked in circles and returned to the same spot where they started. "We are lost!" exclaimed Tom, looking around nervously. Mary started to cry. "I'm so scared," she said, tears streaming down her face. The friends comforted her. "It's okay, Mary. We will find our way," said John, holding her hand tightly. As they tried to find a new path, John slipped on a wet rock and started to roll down a small slope. He fell hard and hurt his leg. He couldn't move and felt very painful. "John!" shouted Jason and Tom, trying to reach him. But the fog made their voices faint, and they couldn't hear him clearly. John called out, "Help! Please help me!" But his friends couldn't hear him. Their shouts seemed to go in the opposite direction. John felt alone and scared. He tried to move his injured leg, but it hurt too much. John looked around and saw the dark, thick forest all around him. He felt very small and helpless. Suddenly, he heard strange sounds. A pack of wolves appeared from the fog, their eyes glowing in the dim light. John thought he was in great danger. The wolves began to move closer, growling softly. He closed his eyes, feeling hopeless. Just when John thought he couldn't escape, a strong hand grabbed him and pulled him away from the wolves. A young man appeared from the fog, moving quickly and confidently. "Come with me," the man said. His name was Ethan. John felt safe as Ethan led him to a hidden spot behind a large tree. The wolves stopped and watched them from a distance. Ethan turned to John and said, "Are you okay?" John nodded, still shaking from fear. "Thank you." Ethan helped John sit down and looked at his injured leg. "You need to treat the wound first," he said. "I know a safe place where we can stay for a while." John felt grateful and relieved. He realized that Ethan was very knowledgeable about the forest and could help them survive. Meanwhile, Jason, Tom, and Mary were searching for John. They heard his faint cries but couldn't find him in the thick fog. They felt worried and continued to call his name, hoping he would hear them. Back with John, Ethan carefully helped him sit up. "We need to find a way out of the fog," Ethan said. "I can help you." John smiled weakly. "Thank you. I don't know what I would do without you." Ethan nodded and began to lead John towards a hidden path. "Stay close to me," he instructed. Together, they walked through the dense fog, moving slowly but surely, arrived at a dry cave. Ethan helped John treat the wound in a simple manner. It was clear that Ethan was very experienced. John told Ethan that his 3 other friends, Jason, Tom, and Mary, were still lost in the fog and couldn't find their way. Ethan nodded and said, "Don't worry, I will help you find them." He led John back into the dense forest, moving quickly and confidently. Soon they heard the voices of Jason, Tom, and Mary. The friends were running towards them, shouting with joy. "John! You're safe!" shouted Jason, hugging him tightly. "Thank goodness!" added Tom, wiping away tears of relief. Mary smiled through her tears and said, Thank you so much, you saved us. Ethan looked at them with a quiet smile. He was a young man, about 20 years old. He was tall and thin, with messy hair and very worn-out clothes. Despite his rough appearance, his eyes were kind and full of knowledge. Ethan didn't say much, but his actions spoke volumes about his bravery and wisdom. The friends sat down, feeling safe together. They were amazed by Ethan's calm and brave actions. "Who are you? Are you alone?" asked Mary, her curiosity piqued. Ethan replied softly, "I am Ethan. I grew up in this forest. I know every path and every animal here." Jason was curious. "How do you know so much about the forest?" Ethan shrugged. "I learned from my father. He was a biologist who studied the forest. We lived here until he disappeared 10 years ago." The friends listened attentively, finding Ethan's experiences hard to believe and unable to accept that he lived alone in the forest. However, his courage and experience made it difficult not to believe him. Ethan showed them how to move quietly through the forest to avoid animals. "If you hear a noise, stay still and quiet," he advised. "Most animals just want to live peacefully." He demonstrated how to make natural shelters using branches and leaves. "This will protect us from the rain and keep us hidden from predators," Ethan explained. He also taught them how to find safe paths and avoid dangers like quicksand and hidden traps. The friends felt much more confident with Ethan's guidance. Ethan's knowledge made them realize how important it was to respect and understand nature. John reminded everyone of their mission. "We are here to find the legendary Blue Lake. Do you know where it is?" Ethan nodded. "Yes, I know the way. Follow me." They continued their journey, walking deeper into the forest. The trees became thicker, and the air cooler. Ethan moved gracefully, knowing exactly where to go. The friends followed closely, trusting Ethan's expertise. As they walked, Ethan pointed out different plants and animals. "This plant is called the blue orchid. It only grows near the lake," he said. They saw colorful butterflies fluttering around the flowers, adding beauty to the forest. After walking for a few hours, they reached a small stream. Ethan showed them how to safely cross it by stepping on the flat stones. "Always check the stones before stepping," he advised. The friends followed his instructions, making it across without any trouble. They continued walking until the trees opened up to reveal a breathtaking sight. In front of them was the legendary Blue Lake, shining brilliantly in the sunlight. The water shimmered with a bright blue light, reflecting the sky and the surrounding trees. The friends looked in awe at the magnificent lake. The water shimmered with a bright blue light, reflecting the sunlight. It was even more beautiful than the legends described. "Wow, it's amazing!" exclaimed Tom, taking out his camera to capture the moment. John walked to the edge of the lake and looked into the clear water. "The water is so blue. How does it glow like this?" Ethan explained. "There are special minerals at the bottom of the lake. They reflect the light, making the water glow blue, especially at night." The friends sat by the lake, enjoying the peaceful view. The water sparkled, and the forest seemed calm and magical. "We did it," said Mary, smiling. "We found the Blue Lake." Ethan nodded. "This lake is very special. It's important to protect it and keep its beauty intact. The friends agreed, feeling a deep respect for the natural wonder they had discovered. They spent time exploring the area, taking pictures, and enjoying the serene environment. Jason decided to explore the shoreline. "Let's see if we can find more about this lake," he suggested. As they walked around, they noticed the unique blue color coming from the lake. Tom took more pictures, capturing the beauty of the scene. "I can't believe we're here," said John. "This is truly a magical place." Ethan shared more information about the lake. "This lake has been here for centuries. The minerals come from deep underground and mix with the water, creating the blue glow. It's a rare and beautiful phenomenon." They also found small, colorful stones along the shore. "These stones are unique to this lake," Ethan added. "They are part of what makes the water so special." The friends felt grateful for Ethan's help and knowledge. They realized how lucky they were to have met him. "Thank you, Ethan," said Mary. "You really are the guardian of this forest." Ethan smiled softly. "I'm happy to help. Remember to respect nature and always stay together when you explore." They spent the rest of the day enjoying the lake and learning more from Ethan. His quiet strength and deep understanding of the forest made them feel safe and inspired. After spending some time at the lake, the friends decided it was time to head back. Ethan led them along a safe path, ensuring they avoided any dangers. As they walked, John said, "Thank you, Ethan. You truly are the guardian of this forest." Ethan nodded and continued to guide them through the forest, showing them the safest routes back to their camp. The friends returned to the edge of the forest, feeling proud and happy. They said goodbye to Ethan, promising to remember his lessons. "We'll never forget this adventure," said Tom, smiling. A few days later, they saw a newspaper article about Ethan. It revealed that Ethan was the son of a famous biologist who had disappeared in the forest 10 years ago. The article mentioned that Ethan had grown up in the forest, learning from his father and the animals. The friends were amazed and grateful. They realized that Ethan was the true guardian of the forest, just like the legends had said. The adventure had brought the friends closer together. They returned to the city with amazing stories and unforgettable memories. They shared their experience with others, inspiring more people to respect and protect nature. John, Jason, Tom, and Mary never forgot their time in the forest and their encounter with Ethan. They knew that the forest held many secrets, and that some legends were true.